Welcome back to Megazord's Hut. So I'm just looking at Arduboy. So it's arguably 10 years old. 2014 is when Kevin Bates was showing this off, and it definitely went viral. I mean, there'd been electronic business cards before and after, but you know, as soon as you get gaming involved, then it makes for a good headline. So people were, you know, the headlines were, you know, my business card plays Tetris. Now, I don't know whether he actually made these into business cards. I suspect not. Maybe he made a couple of them. But, you know, it's quite expensive to give away $20 to $30 business cards. So, but it doesn't matter because it created a buzz. So this is him with the original Arduboy. And yeah, as I said, it was carried. You know, you can still see the original news postings of this, and I think he did well. You know, he did well to capitalise on that buzz and that sort of virality. He capitalised on the buzz and went to Kickstarter with it. So fair play to him, because I mean, not a lot of people will then go into production with something. So. Very clever. This did really well. 7,000 backers, $433,000. Now I don't know how much profit you get out of that. 20%. I mean, not going to be huge. Not going to be living in a mansion, I would imagine. Although it looks like a big figure, there's going to be a lot of that's going to be taken up with production costs. But the original one was fairly well priced. I think it was 20. Where is it? I think it was $29. I don't know why it's showing me. Oh, because I'm all the way down here. Yeah, so you could get one if you early bird for $29. 39 was most. I don't the early bird Arduboy. I don't know what the difference is there. Oh yeah, there was 1,000 early birds, right? And then everybody else had to pay $39. Or you could then go to the sort of extra bits. But yeah, this did really, really well. And then, you know, there were other things that came out afterwards, like the Tetris microcard. I remember that. That looked really nifty. But I didn't buy any of these things. I mean, because I like to make things. I don't really necessarily just want to buy them. I'm not a collector. But it is a pretty cool looking handheld, and I think people have got all the versions of it, probably somewhere, a few people. So yeah, the Tetris microcard was cool, and then there was a special edition, and then the big one, the big change was the FX, where you had the FX mod chip, and then the Arduboy FX, which obviously gave you the ability to have some flash memory on there and have like 200 games, not have to just load one game. So that really made it into a sort of, for me anyway, that made it into a usable, interesting console, really, a handheld. The latest one was, I don't know if he shipped all of these yet, but I mean, he should have done. But that was the Mini, which I think it took him quite a long time to actually bring it into production, which is strange, really, because there's not a lot to it, really. It's the FX. It's the full sort of FX Arduboy in a mini format. But really, I don't know why that really took him so long to do. But anyway, who cares? Who cares? But he did that one. One of the problems with Arduboy, I suppose, for him anyway, for Kevin Bates and its fans, is that if you start adding things, like if you added you could probably get away with a color screen, but as soon as you upgrade the CPU to something with a bit more beef, it's no longer an Arduboy. So you're stuck with it. It's basically stuck in time. Anyway, back to me, which is the important bit. I don't own an Arduboy of any sort. Never had one, and I'm never going to buy one. They are a little bit expensive now, $79, I think, if you bought new. But even on second hand, they do retain their value, I guess, because they're not because they're fairly rare, and if you're a collector, then you want everything in your collection. So I think they will retain their value, but I'm just not paying $79 or $99 for the special edition. It defeats the object of building stuff for a start. And so I was looking for a project basically where somebody had done all the legwork. I had certain criteria. I wanted a reasonably large screen, and I wanted it complete, FX, and complete if possible. Like there's a lot of projects out there, 90% or 95%, and really annoying, to be honest, where people have done half a job. So they'll create a PCB, then they go, look what I've made. And I'm not talking about this one. I'm not talking about Mr. Blinky particularly. I just happen to have this on the screen, but it's just typical then of electronics, the maker scene, if that's such a thing, the maker scene. But it's 90% of people won't do the whole hog. And if they do the whole hog, then they'll suddenly want to sell it to you. They don't want to give it away after that, But it's kind of annoying. But that's what I was looking for. I wanted the bigger screen, FX definitely, and a case if possible. And I just couldn't really find it. So I found two, which is Mr. Blinky. He's a leader in the Arduboy community, and very well respected. I mean, he's done a lot of the hard work on Arduboy, and if you're completely honest, the console is nothing without the people that have developed the games for it, and the software and the games for it. He was lucky. Kevin Bates was lucky that he had a community, because otherwise it would be, as I said, completely irrelevant without people like Mr. Blinky. So this is one of his. I think he's done more than one, but this is one of his Arduboys. Homebrew, and I was almost very close to just going with this. There's a couple of little things didn't really want particularly, and I need a joystick really. I mean, I can't really be doing the 4-button thing for the directions. It had some LEDs. I didn't really want the LEDs. It's not a big deal. It had I don't really like that style where you hold it either side of the screen. That was the other big no for me. I just don't get along with that. So those were the main ones. So I would have had to redesign the PCB anyway. But he'd done a good job, a really good job of this. It's all through hole, very easy to make for people. I mean, a child can make this, I would imagine, and very simple. And the other great thing about it is it's 100% Arduboy compatible. Apart from the display is not is the 1.54 inch display needs an on-the-fly driver, which he then wrote, of course, obviously. So what a guy. So it is fully compatible with Arduboy. But also another slight negative is the Teensy is a bit expensive these days. Kind of more expensive than it should be, considering what it is. But apart from that, it's a great project. And the other project was this one, which Manosh, I don't know. I'm not going to try and pronounce that surname, but he at least he had the case. He's got the case there. It looks brilliant, absolutely spot on, exactly what I wanted. He's got the case there. It's the 1.54 inch screen, brilliant. So this would have been perfect. Only two downsides to this one is it uses alternate wiring, which means I don't think you can use all the Arduboy games from the sort of limited knowledge that I've got. And what was the other thing is that very small BOM file list, bill of materials. He's using the cheap Pro Micro, fantastic. I actually like they bought those buttons as well. They're brilliant. I love them. The only downside to this is he's using, this sort of proof board, I suppose you'd call it, and these. I hate this this way of sort of cobbling things together with these the lacquered wire, the micro wire. I mean, it can get it to work, and then you drop in and break it, or it'll break, and you have no clue what's gone wrong. I didn't really want this, and making PCBs is so easy, really. that it's a shame. If you had a PCB in there, I'd have just gone with that. Anyway, where's the fun there? So what I've done is a couple of PCBs. One is Mr. Blinky's minus the LEDs, and the other one is the this one, Manosh. It's his design. So they're they're almost exactly the same, because that means I can just use the same case for both of them. So that was the Teensy 2 there. And this one's the Pro Micro version with the alternate wiring, but basically everything's in the same position, which means I only have to build one case design. It's got a whopping great switch there. Why? People are going to do, but I'm sick of the micro switches. Honestly, they just break. I don't know if I had a bad batch of them, but I've had to resold a Sony the micro switches I just gone off from. I want a whopping great Frankenstein knife switch, because it'll last forever, and once it's in the case, you won't even see it. It'll be fine. But there's these, a bit of a joke there. Broke-ass Arduboy FX, quality control, garbage. Well, it is garbage. They are garbage, really. I mean, these are throwaways. So I'm going to just see if these work. I haven't got a clue whether Mr. Blinky's will work, because I butchered the design basically. So I have no clue. But I was thinking also that this is too boring for me these days. I mean, I'm just, I'm kind of sick of being a pedestrian, and just like everybody else, I'm going to see if these work, and then I'm going to build, something else, like where I put an Arduboy in a banana, or I have actually got some insane ideas, which I'm probably going to go with that, because this is just too boring. It's it'll look all right on the shelf, but it's just too easy. So once I've got these back from JLB PCB in about 2 weeks, I'll do them up, and then I'm going to go and work on something else, something really just nuts. Well, I think it's a bit nuts, and that's what I'm after. Anyway, if you made it this far, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in part 2.